This is... Whoa, the audio actually kept going on me for a second there. I'm sorry, guys. This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm SmashJT.
There we go. I was going to say, you got to tell them who you are.
Yep. We didn't explain that super well.
Nope. I thought Will had it, but apparently not so much.
Like, sometimes we do a good job explaining it. Most of the time we don't.
Yeah, pretty much. So, Will, what is today?
Today is a Manic Monday.
And before we break into these news topics we cover, every Monday, Smash, why don't you tell everybody about your channel?
Well, I started YouTube like 3 years ago, just doing it for fun after I got let go from working at Qualcomm, and I decided to try to take it full time, and it didn't really work out to the length that I was hoping it to, and I recently got another job like 8 months ago, but I didn't want to just leave the channel, so now I'm still making videos on it, but not nearly as full-time as I used to, but I still have a passion for it and love making the videos, so I guess you could say it's just a hobby that I am addicted to.
And if you guys haven't noticed lately, his mouth is very agape in all of his thumbnails. So go check out some...
I could speak to that if you want, but
we'll talk about that on our interview with you. How about that? Give everybody a little slice of something for later.
Foreshadowing.
There you go. And if you want to hear him mispronounce our name, go to his video about the Pringles leaking the Xbox Series X pricing from like 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
All right. So the first topic for our Manic Monday, our quick topic here, the Atari VCS is actually getting shipped. What do you guys think of that?
Just the box is being shipped. There's nothing in it. You got to use your imagination.
I think it's time for us to eat some humble pie, though, Will. We said it was never coming.
Yeah, true.
I always said it will come, but it will be a shell of what people expected it to be. And I stand by that. Like, it will have an operating system in it. I'm not sure what. Based off of what I've seen previously, it was Linux. Some people are claiming that it's Windows-based. But from what I understand, it's a sandbox Linux that is shipping with no games and expecting the backers to basically participate in a program where they have to pay monthly to play games that are existing already on PC or make the games themselves.
I mean, so what I heard, I've Zio has covered this, so shout out to our friend Zio. He's been covering this and getting trolled hard by all the Atari fans. Basically, I've heard there's 100 games through the AntStream service that will be free to all VCS owners. So you have to have the service. I don't know if you have to pay for those 100 games, but those are supposed to come with the...
Last I heard, you do have to pay for it. I didn't hear that they were free.
I thought that they were saying Atari was getting Atari licensed games for free through the service.
They are. Some of the Atari licensed ones might be free. Yes,
that's what I thought.
But the AntStream service is not free.
No.
If you want any games beyond whatever the Atari, I don't know how many there are. There might be like 4 or 8 or 12 or 20. I don't know how many games, but they're Atari games. Like
yes, games that you can
really
get
a selling
easy.
point for a modern age console.
Yeah, my biggest thing with this console is why. Why does this exist?
Yeah, see, they did at the Atari world through the Linux-based stuff. So supposedly the games that are Atari licensed games, the ones that everybody can get with your standard Atari plug and play, those are all free, is what I understand. Everything else that you want to get comes through those AntStream services, or they just added another 1 or 2 services to the console. Nothing that's like something I'd really be interested in, but at least they are shipping something that will have games that you can play. It's just way too expensive.
I will say one positive note about the Atari is I love the console look.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
Might be my favorite design of the generation.
It's a nice console look. I like the Atari Pro controller look, assuming it works well. And there is potential. This is the first and only time you'll ever hear me say this about the Atari VCS. There is potential for it to be the ultimate Android box to play illegally downloaded ROMs of past generation games. Like, that is the way I look at it. Like, it will be able to play games depending on the CPU, GPU of what they finally decide to go with, it might even be able to play games up to PS1 and N64, and dare I say PS2, and even Dreamcast. That's going to be pushing it. But if it can do those games and do them fluently, it could have a vibrant community surrounding it to create a bunch of things to work with that. But that is the extent of what I see coming out of this. And that's the only reason I personally would care about it. I don't see why else it exists. I don't.
I mean, that's a fair take. I love the I've considered picking up the joystick just because it does say it pairs with computers. So like that would be pretty cool to play old school Atari games on my computer with that new joystick, which they spent a lot of time on R&D on this particular part of the full equation. But I don't need the modern controller. I'm definitely not buying the console, but I would consider buying that awesome looking joystick. That looks pretty cool.
Well, it's the same price as almost the same price as a PS5 digital edition. So I think that
it is the same price as the Xbox One S or the Xbox Series S.
No, it's
Yeah,
more.
it's
It's more.
it's more than that. It's $90 more.
Look, $389.
Wait, what?
It's
I thought it
almost
was $299.
400. Well, the $299 comes with no
Oh my
controllers.
God.
The $299 version
What are you
comes
gonna
with.
do with a console with no controllers?
You can use a standard Bluetooth with it. So like it basically just whatever.
Oh, I mean, who's gonna do that?
Yeah.
So if you want to get the joystick and the Pro controller looking one, you got to pay almost $400. So those two
This is when,
controllers add
Tommy
$100.
comes in and says the Amico comes with 2 controllers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me say the Atari VCS, the marketing team behind it that they've hired, Mario Kroll and Uber strategists, have been nothing but rude and aggressive and against anybody trying to cover it in a negative light, instead of opening
Dialogue.
a conversation,
Yeah.
a dialogue to talk about it and say, hey, like what Tommy did with the Amico. Like I'll straight off the bat, I was very skeptical of the Amico because I saw how scummy the people working with the Atari VCS was, and I'm like, well, here we go again, with this Amico. And then Tommy reached out to me and he's like, whoa, let's talk. Because I
Right.
want to tell you about why I care about this, why it's special to me, and why I think people will ultimately find a love and passion for it. And I'm like, what? Someone actually wants to take the time out of their day to change my mind on this? And coming from the Atari VCS, where how rude they were to me, it kind of shed light on their approach, which was these guys that bought the naming rights to the Atari. Oh God, what's his name? I can't think of. I'm having a brain fart right now on the name of
Here, we'll
Michael
look it
Arts.
up. Okay.
Michael Arts. Type in Michael Arts on Wikipedia. It's ARZT or AZ Art. Michael Arts. AR.
You said you want to see the Wikipedia? I've got him up here. I'm trying to find his Wikipedia page appears to be buried.
That exposed video is from me.
Is it?
That guy is a sketchball. Like,
Is he?
everything I've seen and read about him, he is a snake oil salesman at the
boy.
finest. Like, he's a guy that basically bought the naming rights to the Atari VCS, and this is my opinion, hot take here, which I'd like to think in the free world we're still allowed to have opinions. My opinion was they bought the naming rights to just float the idea of this Atari VCS out there, and not even put any work into it or anything, just to see if they could maybe scam some people out of money, get the money, and then ultimately say, oh, we didn't have enough to actually make the console, but we spent all the money on the R&D. Sorry, guys, no console. But what ultimately ended up happening completely shocked all of them, which is they got, $3 million of backers' money, and they're like, oh, shit, we actually have to make something now. That would be like prison time
Yeah.
if they would just take $3 million and not do anything. Like, that would be investigated by the SEC. They would be screwed. So I think this thing blew up in their face, and they're like, oh crap, we got to actually do something. And this console is what ultimately came out of it. But all along the way, all the research I've done on it, they've basically just kind of piecemealed it together and didn't really have an action plan in place. It took them forever to get an operating system, and the last time I saw it running live was on a Windows operating system, which they said it was running on Linux. And I'm like, these guys don't even have the operating system set. And then they said the games are going to be in a sandbox mode, letting the backers make the games. Like, that's like a selling point. Like, what? You don't have a plan. Like,
what is this article? Forget the PS5. Is Atari VCS the next PS4, Xbox, and Switch rival? Oh, this is 2 years ago.
Tell me that.
Oh, it's 2 years ago.
Who wrote this?
Gary Jones. This is two years ago on Forbes. Or no, I'm sorry, express.co.uk. I'm sorry. It said it was a Forbes article, but I clicked on it and it's not. Okay.
I mean, I that's one of those, like, I've seen my local news write articles about the PS5 and Xbox Series X, and it makes me like face palm so hard that I actually hurt my head, because these people writing articles about video games that do not play video games, that do not deal with the tech industry, and try to act like they know something about it. I'm just like, oh my god, this is it's painful.
So I just wanted to point out, if we actually said in this video from 11 months ago that the Atari VCS was never actually coming, I will eat that humble pie. I still don't think it's a good console. Let's move on to the next.
Does it really count?
Let's move on to the next.
So I mean, I'm not gonna eat it yet.
Let's move on to the next topic here. Pre-orders are getting delayed for like basically everything next gen, including Nvidia's graphics cards, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S. If you put in a pre-order, there's like a 50% chance you got a delay on your pre-order. So what do you guys think of that? Like, is this all due to what's going on this year? Or do you guys think that maybe Sony and Microsoft just weren't prepared for the amount of pre-orders that were coming? I'm confused.
I just don't think they had very many, and I just think that they're generally incompetent anyways, and the confounding factor of actually having a limited supply this year really threw them for a loop.
I think the foreshadowing was already given to us. The writing was on the wall when the pandemic began, and the Nintendo Switches were impossible to find.
Yep.
And that in itself is a current gen console that's been out for over 3 years now and still can't keep it on the shelf. So I think it's a byproduct of, one, the pandemic, but I think two, even more impressive, would be just the game industry at large has become so much more appealing to the mainstream, way more than it ever has in the past.
I would agree with that. Like, when I went and got my Switch, actually it's funny, I got my Switch like March 20th or something, somewhere along those lines, and within like 10 days of me buying my Switch, everything was sold out. eBay went up to like $750 for a Switch, and everybody was in lockdown at home. So like, I bought a Switch at the perfect time to buy one, because they still had a few in stock. So like, I think it is just wholeheartedly what you're saying. Everybody's just running out to go buy one, and so there are none out there for people to buy, and the pre-orders are going the same way.
Not to mention too, like, kind of a reason that merges those two together is people are staying at home because of the pandemic. They're playing whatever video games. I mean, there's been a surge in pricing on Wii games because people are pulling their Wiis out of the closet, plugging them in, and being like, okay, I'm going to be at home, I might as well play some video games finally. So people are going back to playing video games that haven't played them in a while, and they're realizing that they actually truly enjoy playing video games, and the passion is there, and that makes them wonder, oh, what's actually going on in the video game world? Let me dive in. Oh, the Nintendo Switch? I mean, you guys and me and everyone watching this already know, like, people in our niche know about all this stuff. But Joe Consumer out there, there are people that don't even know Nintendo has a new console out right now. And that is like, I mean, you go to Walmart, the average person walking around the store may not even know what the Nintendo Switch even is, you know? And then
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
When the pandemic hits and they're at home and they're like, oh, I want to play some video games because I got laid off, I got furloughed, or I'm working from home now, I got more time to chill out, I'm sick of watching TV shows and movies, let me play video games. And then I like to talk a lot. I'm sorry. Am I going too long here?
No, I'm just pulling up these prices to show exactly what you're talking about. I try to have things on screen for people to look at while we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mario Kart Wii and Wii Sports. I think Wii Sports hit the highest price in like the last decade earlier this year. It was like almost at $45 or $50 middle of the summer.
Which is insane if you consider the fact that that's in the top, what is that, the number one selling game of all time?
Tetris and Minecraft have it beat, but that's about it.
I mean, if you count all the versions of Tetris,
yes,
maybe,
that's how it is.
But I'm saying like the specific game of Wii Sports was sold with every single Wii up until like 2 years before it retired itself. I mean, just think that goes to show that people are going back to the Wii.
There's your answer.
Ultimately, what's that?
Minecraft's number one. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto, yeah.
Tetris, and then
Auto
Wii Sports is number 4.
Grand Theft Auto 5 defies all logic.
Yeah.
100% defies all logic. Like, fantastic game.
They're releasing it again on the next console. It's just like, why?
I mean, yes, it's the Skyrim from Take-Two. From Rockstar.
What's crazy is when we started our podcast, Tetris was number 1, and now it's been dethroned by both Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto 5.
Wow.
We've been doing this for so many years.
There was a meme that was going out that I don't know if you saw it, but it was a kid and his dad, and his kid goes, "Dad, what game did you?" As he's playing Grand Theft Auto 5, "What game did you play when you were a kid?" His dad is like, "I played Grand Theft Auto 5."
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, Minecraft has 200 million sales. Holy cow. Wow.
And here's the thing. Here's why Minecraft will never die. And I realized this after I became a father. Is it's such a approachable game for anyone. And after I got burned out, because I used to play it all the time, and I got so burned out that I'm like, I don't even want to touch it again. And now I see my son, and he's just like all the time playing Minecraft. He loves it. And I'm like, well, I can see it because I was there before too. And there's always new people, and that's there's always new kids being born. And once they get old enough, they're gonna enjoy Minecraft. It's just
like Legos. It's perfect.
Exactly. It's like Legos. Did you know? Fun fact, by the way, how long it took the original creator of Minecraft to make the original demo version of Minecraft?
I can't remember if it was surprisingly short or surprisingly long, but it's been a while since I looked that up.
I can't remember the exact answer, so don't quote me on this, but it was surprisingly short. It was like a day, or it was like a week, or something like that. Or it's like what?
It was like Java, right?
Like,
it was all like, Java, right?
Yeah. It was just like the basic building block application, and it's like you did it in like a day.
It's such like, I wonder if people have tried to make this game before and just thought they were gonna get sued by Legos and decided, nah. Like I just don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised the way the world is. Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys want to talk about the next failure that's coming up besides Stadia?
Yes.
Amazon Luna. So Amazon
I love how you introduced that. That's classic.
I just hate cloud gaming. I'll be honest. I just hate cloud gaming. Except for
enjoy playing the
xCloud. xCloud is the only one that I will give a pass. But Stadia.
I'll tell you a reason why for that later.
Okay, fair enough. So xCloud is I will not talk badly about xCloud necessarily because I have had zero issues with streaming with Microsoft platforms. But
I'll
Stadia.
tell you the reason why it gets a pass though later. Like
okay, fair enough. But Amazon quietly launched the cloud. I didn't even know it came out. I saw people comparing the Switch controller to the Luna controller, not even knowing what the Luna controller was, thinking it was some cheap knockoff controller on Amazon's website. So I actually looked it up because I saw so many people posting the controller, and that's how I found out what Luna was. But here's
I saw the newscast for this, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about this. I totally forgot they were doing this.
Here's my quick description if anybody doesn't know what Luna is. So at the 2020 hardware event, Amazon launched a cloud gaming platform called Luna. With this move, Google Stadia and Microsoft's xCloud have a new competitor in the cloud gaming field. Users of Luna will be able to stream games wirelessly without downloading them, just like Stadia. And PC, Mac, Fire TV, whatever... It must be Android OS and iOS. I don't know. I mixed that into like one word. Sorry. With an Android
how they
version
got
planned
around the
after
iOS
launch.
thing is really cool, though. I will admit.
I've heard they use the browser.
Yeah.
So the introductory price is $5.99 per month with early access and gives subscribers the ability to play Luna Plus channel games. I have yet to see the list of those yet. Oh no, I take it back. I'm sorry. I haven't seen the full list. We have some of them below. And then it says offers 4K 60 FPS resolution. We'll see about that. Amazon says more than 100 games will be able to be played via the Luna Plus channel, and launch titles include Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, A Plague Tale Innocence, The Surge 2, Yooka-Laylee, Grid, Abzu, and The Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Of those games that are on that list, I don't think any of them are brand new. I know Control is pretty new, but it seems like a lot of older games. What do you guys think of the launch of the Amazon Luna? What do you guys think so far?
I don't know.
You want me
I
to
think it's
take it or
gonna.
Will?
I don't care.
We're both gonna answer. I think it's gonna basically go the same way as Stadia went. So that's my only comment on that. I like the controller.
I mean, I like the Switch Plus Pro controller too. So as far as the Amazon Luna, I was watching CNBC the day that it got announced, and one of the reporters was like, they were trying to explain it, and they had no idea what was going on with it, like we were saying in pre-show. But what Amazon does at that annual electronics event that they do, they said this isn't the first time. Every year that they do this, they basically come out with all these ideas and just throw it against the wall and see what sticks. And that's exactly what I look at Luna. It doesn't look like anything that's like been really thoroughly thought out or explained. And I don't think they even planned a customer base. I think it was just kind of one of those, let's just throw it out there, and if it gets a following, then we'll pay more attention to it. I don't really think they care. Amazon has more money than God, and they're the only company in the world that does. So that in itself goes to show that they just throwing it out there. Like, at least with Stadia, they gave it its own individual event. They tried to show why it was different and special, and how the interwebs connected with the wires, and how it made it so super fast and everything. But ultimately, I think these companies are forgetting the fact that there needs to be an audience for this, that people actually need to be asking for it. And I think someday they will be asking for it. I think ultimately in the future, people will want this when the next gen consoles come out, and they're too expensive for them to. What's that? I don't know, but I'm on the phone right now. Sorry, where was I?
That's okay. You're just saying they need to have an audience and market.
Audience, yeah.
Yeah. They need to have an audience and know what people want, and I feel like they're just throwing it out there and hoping people care about it. But they're forgetting that their consoles, people are. I mean, look at the attach rate. Look at the sales. If anything, the only benefit for them will be the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S sell out, and people want to play next gen games, and they can't access next gen consoles, but they're available on their platform and nowhere else. But that's not what happens. What's happening is these games are going to be cross gen for the foreseeable future, so that they don't lose the customer base, so that people who play PS4 and didn't get a PS5 pre-order aren't pissed off that they missed out on a game that's next gen only, if they're like, oh, I can just play it on my PS4.
Sony backtracking.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they're backtracking because they realize what I'm saying right now.
Yes.
Which is they're going to lose people to Stadia. I don't think they even had any idea of what this Luna was at the time, but I mean, they saw it going in that direction. Obviously, Microsoft did as well because they're doing it themselves. But I think ultimately that's why they're backtracking, is they know they're not going to fulfill the customer base. They know they're not going to have enough consoles out there. and they're going to lose people to these services. And then the second point, just real quick, because I'm talking a lot again, but the second point is these streaming services aren't getting the games on day one. Like, that's a big issue. No one's talking about that. Like, they're getting like one game or two games, but who knows if they're even going to get Cyberpunk on release date.
Probably not.
There's no guarantee of that. There's no guarantee that they're going to get any of these special games. And secondly, there are IPs that Sony have and Microsoft have that people want their consoles for that these companies aren't doing. Amazon has Amazon Game Studios, which is a cluster bleep. It's a mess. I know personally because I'm in San Diego where they're headquartered. I know the president of them. I know the issues that they've been having for a very, very long time. I've known the cancellations that they've had of games they've poured a lot of money into leading up to this point. It's a mess behind the scenes there. They have no unique IPs. Google's working on an IP right now, but it was nothing special. They had, what was the other one that they had for Stadia that they announced? Baldur's Gate or whatever. And I was like, okay, great. Like, I'm not going to go get Stadia. Like, who cares? Like, that's the thing these companies forget. The reason why Nintendo sells consoles is not because the Switch is unique because it's able to be flexible. It's because they have Mario. It's the same reason that the Wii U sold what it did. Even though it sold piss poor in comparison to other consoles, the Wii U was still profitable for Nintendo. No one ever likes to talk about that.
The attach rate was insane on the Wii U. Like, they had like 15 games a console.
Exactly. And I was one of those people. I got the Wii U on day one. I bought every single, for the most part, every single first-party game and loved them. There's nothing happening with Stadia with that, or Luna with that. And I think these companies, they're so caught up in the technology that they're forgetting the fact that gamers want games to play. They don't give a crap about technology. Who cares? I play my Game Boy. Who cares about technology? Yeah, exactly. I want fun games.
I mean, Analog has proved it. Analog with their Pocket that they just put out. I can't remember what the heck they're called.
Yeah,
Analog Pocket.
Instantly.
Yeah, and they've re-released the NES. Yeah, me too. I was hoping. Oh, look at that. OEB Pete's my next video. They're live right now. Shout out to him. Let's go find another Luna video to put on in the background.
All right. So my point on why xCloud gets a pass, it's not trying to replace the console.
Right.
It's an addition, and it's a free edition. So if you have Game Pass, you solve the problem of not getting those IPs because now you get the first party IPs on Game Pass as well as now Bethesda. And
right.
It's a free service. So already it's not like I have to buy in a new ecosystem. I already have the ecosystem. I just have to have a phone.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So I think my final thoughts on this, as far as like Luna launching, first off, this commercial gives me like 1984 vibes and in the wrong way. But let's backtrack from there. Amazon Luna, I mean, like you said, they're launching products that they're seeing what sticks. Look at the Fire Phone. Did that last anywhere? Does anybody still have a Fire Phone anymore? Yeah, it was a big deal.
Did you see the Amazon event where they announced the Luna?
I did not watch it.
No.
Because one of the things they announced alongside the Luna was like a drone that.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Alexa, if there's like an intruder in the house, and I'm like, what? Like, what is happening here?
Let me find that.
And that's the thing. Like that's to what I was saying and what you just said. It's like they just threw what sticks on the wall and go with what people buy. And you can't fault them. If you got all the money in the world, I'd probably be doing the same thing. There it is. It is. I never even saw this. I just heard about it. That's what I'm talking about.
He's not going to run out of the house just because you have a stupid drone. He's already on camera.
I mean, you attach a gun to it.
Well,
exactly.
that would be definitely. But just seeing that, like, if you just saw this drone flying around with a camera, it's like, dude, I'm already on camera. Why don't I just take stuff anyways?
Right.
Like,
right.
I've already lost.
People are gonna go old school. They're gonna throw the socks over their faces, so it's not gonna matter anyway.
You already got a mask, right? You might
exactly.
as well just. Right. Yeah, I think at this point, in this day and time, if somebody is actually trying to make that a career, which I don't recommend, we're not advocating for that. You're probably wearing a mask. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, hard enough to know what people look like anyways right now.
Yeah. So.
A face mask.
So just our final thoughts on this. Is cloud gaming a serious platform? What's your final thought?
Yes, not now, and not the way that Google and Amazon are doing it.
Yes, not now, but in the way that Google and Amazon are doing it, but they are just too early. They're way too early right now.
Too early with no
I
IPs.
think ultimately, I would disagree with Will and say ultimately this is the way of the future, but it's just they need to get
not mine
ducks in order. Well, no, you say that, but if they get their ducks in a row, they get the games, they get the IPs. Like, put it this way, it's not going to happen. But if Amazon bought Nintendo and they're like, okay, all these games are going to go on this, I think people would be like, okay, I'll give this a look. You know what I mean? Like, it's something like that. And you can't, I mean, maybe 20 years in the future, we'll look back at this video and be like, whoa, Smash just said Amazon bought Nintendo, and that's how they're going to do it. You never know. Like, crazy. Microsoft just bought Bethesda and the entire company, not just Bethesda. What was it? Oblivion and Obsidian, I mean. Yeah, ZeniMax, like all the companies underneath ZeniMax. So you don't know what next month is going to bring. Never mind 10 years from now or 20 years and how these companies are going to morph into whatever it turns into. And I don't ever see Nintendo ever doing that because that's not their thing.
Mm-mm.
They would have done that a long time ago if they were. But you never know what happens. I mean, Minecraft's coming to the Smash Brothers. Banjo-Kazooie is on Smash Brothers. Microsoft and Nintendo are working together. They're in bed together doing these things. You never know what's going to come from that down the road. You never know how PlayStation and if Crash Bandicoot ends up in Smash and then 20 years from now, you just never know. You never know.
My final thought on this is that Sony did it first, and they have like absolutely the lowest tiered service of anybody with PS Now. And they ended up converting it into more of a Game Pass where you can download the games, except for PS3. It's just so funny. I think they basically did it first, of the main three. And yet their service is technically doing the worst, I think, of the three.
Well, I mean, throughout history with inventions, usually the first one that does it is usually the worst anyways. That's
fair enough.
Especially with cutting edge stuff. So. But yeah, they were first.
All right, so if there's anything else you guys want to add really quickly, we'll probably end the first segment here.
If they have the games organized the way that they have their Prime Video organized, it's going to be a shit show.
I would agree with that.
Yes, and the fact that I can't go to my Watch Next easily enough.
It's the most confusing
yes.
setup. It takes me like 5 minutes to find the genres.
I was watching The Boys the other day with my wife, and the episode ended, and then it just went to like a different series, and I'm like, was that the end of the series? And I'm like so confused. I'm like, that episode didn't even like have a finale feel to it. And then I had to look it up online. I was like, oh, there's new episodes every Friday. They didn't release the whole series at once. How was I supposed to know that? Like, I thought the series was over.
Yep.
There was no interlude. There was no card at the end. Nothing. It's just like, next show.
My son was watching Stinky and Dirty. I don't know if you've seen that one before, but it went from that to like Dirty Jobs, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. My kid's not gonna watch Dirty Jobs.
Wow. Norm Macdonald out of greatest.
Anyways.
Oh no, that's dirty work. That's dirty work.
Yeah. Dirty Jobs is like, it's just like people doing dirty jobs in like Alaska and that kind of stuff. But anyways.
Okay, I was like, damn, a kid showed dirty work. That's impressive.
Anyway, guys, we'll tomorrow's gonna be a review of Rich from Review Tech USA. So stay tuned. As always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm Smash.
And we will see you